Guys, in the previous segment, we talked about the challenges faced by working parents in striking a work-life balance. Today, we're going to talk about the communication gap that parents face with their children. And we have Neha, a life coach from Better Life, who will help us to gain further clarity. Hi, Neha.
Hi.
Yeah, so starting with the first question, what do you think are the factors that lead to a communication gap between a parent and a child?
Okay, so this first of all, gives us two questions. Number one, if the child is able to communicate with you up till a certain age, what changes when they grow up? Okay, and the second question is that what stops a parent from communicating and talking about certain really important aspects? Right. Now, it is very commonly seen that when a child grows up, friends become more important.
Yeah.
Right. So why does that happen? So if we compare these two relationships, a child's relationship with a parent and a child's relationship with a friend, even in a friendship, the child would be experiencing conflicting thoughts and conflicting opinions with the friend, and even there they would be made to behave in a certain manner or do certain things, just as a parent would be asking the child to do. But still, a child would be preferring a friend over a parent when it comes to sharing. Right? This happens because the child views the parent as an authority figure, and that defines a certain comfort zone with the parent, which is very, very different from that of a friend's comfort zone.
Right.
Okay, so this is one reason. Now another is that the child has a lot of thoughts about sharing also. So these thoughts would be probably that will I be understood by the parent? Or what if I disappoint my parent, right? What if they judge me?
Right.
So these are the thoughts that are associated.
Okay, alright. So if I'm getting you correctly, it's about the power balance between a parent and a child.
Exactly.
And also these thoughts that you mentioned. Now coming to these thoughts, what do you think leads to development of these thoughts?
Okay, so let me give you a reason which is a little deep rooted. So as a parent, what do? We keep telling our children that this looks like a good child and this looks like a bad child. Right, and someday in the future when they end up doing something which does not come under the definition of a good child, they would obviously be really, really hesitant. Okay.
Right.
Now, for example, if I take drinking, okay, we as a parent generally attach certain labels to children who drink.
Yeah.
बिगड़ गया है.
Yeah.
Right, हाथ से निकल गया है. So then what would happen? Our children would instantly understand that, okay, my parents are really not okay with the whole drinking thing, right? Now, what if they start drinking in the future? They would never come up to you and start, telling you that, yes, I have done something like this.
Yeah.
Okay? We are not aware of it at all. Zero information about it. What if that drinking habit starts hampering your children so much? Would you be in that state of helping them? You will not be, right? So it is very important for a parent to understand that whatever we give our child is going to be a guideline at the end of the day. Okay? It would not ensure whether the child will be following it or not. Okay? At the end of the day, they would do whatever they want to do, depending upon their experiences and their outlook towards things. Okay? So this is one. Another is that the way they communicate, the tone that they use, the words, the pitch that they use, would be setting a ground for any further communication.
Okay, so basically it's about how we communicate and also the way we convey the message.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay. And are there any factors that lead to hampering of communication between a parent and a child?
Yes. So a healthy communication always takes a listening ear and a wish to understand what the child is trying to convey. Okay. The conflict would arise always when both the parties refuse to converse, or the conversation is somewhere or the other really unhealthy. Okay. So the factors that are responsible could be, number one, approachability. You would find it in a lot of households that one parent is always less approachable than the other. Right. Another would be the level of openness to discussion and difference in opinions. So a lot of people, like a lot of parents, they think that they are in a better state to tell the child what is good and what is bad and what is right for them, because they feel that they have gained more in terms of experience. So they generally do not welcome any kind of new idea or new thought of their children. So the child knows that, okay, it would not be even entertained if I talk about anything new to them. So this is obviously hampering the communication. Now another is lack of time. Okay, parents are juggling roles, like literally they are parents, and apart from that they are professionals, they are friend, they are couple at the end of the day. So while catering to all of these roles, by the end they get really really exhausted, and they are not left with energy to to be spent on the child. So these are few factors that are responsible for faulty patterns of communication.
Yeah, so here you mentioned faulty patterns of communication. Are there specific things that lead to unhealthy or faulty patterns of communication?
Yes. So unhealthy patterns of communication would be number one, you must have seen that there are a lot of parents who start scolding their children in public.
Yeah.
They do, right?
Yeah.
So this is the first faulty pattern of communication that a lot of parents adopt. Always try not to embarrass your child in public or in private also, right? It would only lead to resentment and hostility. Another one would be being really reactive. Okay, we generally become really loud in terms of our actions, or what we say. Our words are not correct, our tone is not correct. Okay, this would also come under a faulty pattern of communication. If this is a pattern that you always adopt while communicating, okay, this would make the child feel, or the child would register automatically that, okay, I am now scared, right? You always get this loud, so it is not okay if I talk to you. So the child would be really scared of talking to you in that case. Another would be saying no to every other thing. So this is something that a parent does unknowingly also at times, that the general way of reacting to whatever the child is telling you is a no, right? It could be out of anxiety that the parent must be feeling or something. But generally, like overall, if you take a bigger picture, the first response that you give to the child is always no, right? So this is somewhere or the other making the child feel that their thing would not be approved, right? Ultimately, unki baat pe na hi aane wala hai, right? So they would keep everything to themselves. They would not share anything. Okay, this is one pattern which is faulty. Another pattern which is completely faulty is when you talk to the child, right? It is very important to understand how the child is feeling. At times we really sideline how the child is feeling. Okay, and we only focus on the superficial and the materialistic thing that we are talking about. So it is very important to also take in account what the child is feeling. So these are the 4 faulty patterns of communication that we generally adopt. Yeah.
So now that we talked about the factors that lead to this communication gap and the faulty patterns of communication.
Yeah.
So coming down to the suggestions, are there any tips that parents and children can adopt in order to foster a healthy bond and a healthy communication?
Definitely, a lot of them. It's not a very hard thing to actually develop a really good bond. Just a few things that would take a little bit of conscious effort. So the first one that I would like to state is that if the traditional way of communicating is not working out, like directly talking, the way we are talking, if it is not working out, then you can always adopt to choose an alternative way, which is either writing a letter or probably through videos, movies, right? So you can choose these alternatives. Another would be, if you are finding it difficult to reach out to one of your parents, okay, always try to reach out to the more approachable parent first.
And what if both the parents are unapproachable?
If both the parents are approachable, then it is always advisable that you find some mediator in the family, right? Somebody other than your parents who you are really close to, who that would be listening to you. Okay, they would help you, mediate. Yeah. Then comes a very, very important part, which is spending time with your child. It is very, very crucial. So it is not the quantity of the time. As we also mentioned above that, a lot of parents run out of time, right? Juggling between roles and things. So in that case, when you are not left with a lot of time, let's focus on the quality, like bringing a quality factor in, whatever time you are spending with the child, be 10 minutes, be 20 minutes, right? So spending quality time is very, very crucial. Okay. Another would be, and probably the most important, the 3 pillars of communication. Okay. Number 1 is acknowledging. then accepting, and then appreciating. Okay. Now, for example, जब आपका बच्चा आता है, he tells you, in a very happy manner that I secured the second position. What would generally a parent say? वो कहेंगे कि शाबाश, बहुत अच्छी बात है, अगली बार फर्स्ट आना, इस बार सेकंड आए कोई बात नहीं, अगली बार फर्स्ट आना, right? Instead of actually appreciating the fact that he has at least secured the second position. So this should not be there. You appreciate what they have done now, right now. It is always good to motivate the child to do better, but never forget to appreciate what they have done right now. Okay. Then comes while you say no to a child. Okay, always support your no with a logic. Okay, unless the child is able to connect to the no. Why I'm being said no, कि आप ये मत करो, you do not have to behave in a certain manner. क्यों करना है वो नहीं पता है. So always try to attach a logic to your no. Okay. Then again, what generally people do, we always tell our children कि ये एक desirable behavior, this is an undesirable behavior. For example, जब बच्चों को गुस्सा आता है, they get a little destructive, बहुत तेज बोलते हैं, they shout, right? So we do let them know कि ये एक बहुत unhealthy way of expressing anger है. But we leave them there. We do not tell them कि healthy ways क्या है. Okay, so never leave them high and dry कि अब करना क्या है, right? You always give them few healthy ways of channelizing their energy, channelize their anger. Okay. Then comes this thing is there in a lot of parents. सब कहते हैं कि कितना भी बड़ा हो गया मेरे लिए तो बच्चा ही है. So this is because we always view our children as our children, no matter what age they are. We treat them as a kid always. So we think that since we are not in that zone where they would be taking us as a decision maker, right? क्योंकि वो तो हमें kids की तरह treat करते हैं. So we start feeling really, really uninvolved, right? And this would also hamper the decision making skills that they are on the way of developing. Okay. Now after this, it is very important to initiate any kind of conversation. We should not be waiting for any kind of vacuum to take place, right? So if you feel that your child is not able to talk about things, or there is any kind of vacuum which is there, now always initiate and start talking about things. Okay, start showing interest in what they are doing in their lives, so that उनको लगे कि okay, there is somebody जो interested है सुनने में, ठीक है? So in that way they would be more forthcoming.
Right.
Then a very, very important thing, as we also mentioned in the faulty patterns, that embarrassing in public. So this leads to this tip that always maintain privacy. Okay, no child would want, no matter what age is it, no one would like being disrespected in public.
Right.
Okay, when you talk to them, or if there is anything that you need to educate your child about, always prefer taking them to a corner, or probably waiting for the public to go, so that you get your time with the child alone, and then you guide them. Okay, if you go out and start scolding them in the public, or start telling them that this is not the way you should be doing it, they would be taken aback. Okay, so these are certain tips that you can apply, and it will definitely help you build a really good communication.
Alright. So thank you so much for these suggestions. Are there any last thoughts that you would want to leave our viewers with?
Yeah, definitely. So as a parent, what we do, we start taking care of every basic need. Right from the starting, खाना ठीक से खाया कि नहीं, comfort zone ठीक है कि नहीं, career ठीक direction में जा रहा है कि नहीं जा रहा है, everything. But do we ever sit and talk about how they feel? What are the emotions that they carry every day? So this is something that I would want to leave the viewers with.
Alright. Thank you so much for your time and these wonderful suggestions. I'm sure that a lot of parents would benefit from this. And guys, if you are also facing certain communication gaps, be it with your parent, be it with your child, feel free to reach out to Better Life counselors. You can call them up at 9266626435, or you can also chat with them or visit their website, that is www.betterlife.com. Stay tuned for more insights. Thank you so much.